Tens of thousands mass in the streets of Sofia, as they have done for the last few weeks, and in several other Bulgarian cities. It's been a gradually growing movement driven by dissatisfaction with the government, accusations of corruption, economic grievances and a demand for new leadership. In common with similar protests in other countries, it's younger people, Gen Z, who are at the forefront with the demand for change. United under the slogan aimed at those in power, "You angered the wrong generation."
We truly hope our actions will lead to real change. What I can say with certainty is that we will not stop. We are prepared to continue with active protests, uniting students from across Bulgaria and abroad.
I believe that corruption, the way we keep on living, and the money that's actually being stolen, that's the huge problem for us. And I truly hope that there will be some youthful energy boiling over.
The growing anger and sheer strength of numbers appears to have brought about the resignation of the minority centre-right government, a move unanimously agreed by MPs.
Therefore, I inform you that before the vote of no confidence, today the government resigns.
The government's fall follows the scrapping of a controversial budget plan. It would have been the sixth vote of confidence since January and comes just 20 days before Bulgaria joins the euro in the new year.
I assume that now, with us entering the eurozone, perhaps there will be less money being stolen from our country, from the state. But many people are afraid that prices for everything will rise, rents, goods, everything. So I don't know what to expect. There will probably be both positives and negatives.
Bulgaria's is the latest government and the first in Europe to be felled by Gen Z unrest this year. Demonstrations over corruption and inequality brought about the fall of the Madagascan leadership and the government of Nepal. There have also been mass rallies in Indonesia, the Philippines and Tanzania. Several of those met with force from state authorities. The collapse of Bulgaria's government now leaves a power vacuum and questions over the direction the country will take. Its president, Rumen Radev, is likely to appoint a caretaker cabinet until new elections can take place. Well, I'm joined now by Martin Vladimirov from the Centre for the Study of Democracy. What's led to this current situation in Bulgaria?
Really, this is a protest against the hubris of the elite that has become very complacent to the practice of overriding the rule of law, undermining due process, including by harassing, I would say, political figures from the opposition with trumped up charges with really inhumane kind of treatment of political activists. So it's not really the result of socioeconomic dissatisfaction. On the contrary, the country is doing very well economically, is joining the Eurozone from 1st of January. This is not a protest against the Euro either. It's an anti-corruption protest.
Is this an example of a Gen Z protest of the kind that we've seen elsewhere in the world?
It is true that there were a lot of young people on the protest, but it is much broader. So there have been representatives from all social groups and age groups on the protest. But I would say its success comes partially on the back of a very successful social media campaign, especially on TikTok. Some politicians that used to fail in reaching to these segments of the society have become very active on these social media channels. The big problem, however, is what will happen next. And I don't think there is a real alternative to the current government. So we might be getting into a period of political instability.
Well, going back to the Gen Z angle of this is a generation that doesn't remember communism, all the deprivations of the late 90s. What are they hoping to achieve?
They would like systemic change. They would like structurally the society to be based on the rule of law principles that have been largely formalized and sidelined by individual well-vested interests. So this systemic change will take a lot of time. It's not going to end with a new government, even if it comes from the opposition groups that have led the protests. They don't have the solution. They were in power as well for 2 years, and they couldn't change the structural situation in the judicial system where there is a lot of corruption, there is a lot of state capture. None of the political factions in power right now or in the parliament is strong enough to lead this change alone.
So what will happen now? I mean, the government is committed to joining the euro at the beginning of next year. What happens on a political, practical level?
Well, the big unknown is whether President Radev is going to decide to create his own political party. He is by far the most popular politician in Bulgaria, and if he joins the domestic political scene, it is very likely that his formation is going to win the next election. President Radev is pro-Russian, has aligned his policies and his thinking about the war in Ukraine with that of the Kremlin. So I think this is the biggest geopolitical and geostrategic issue that will be debated at the next elections. If he doesn't join the election cycle, what we might see is political instability, so interim governments that rule the country for maybe another 2 years. In the meantime, there will be a fragmented parliament bickering over day-to-day issues.
Well, this is the first European government to have been toppled by these so-called Gen Z protesters. I mean, could this spread to other European countries?
Well, it can happen anywhere because the power of social media algorithm is so big and it's so uncontrollable that sometimes political messages online take a life on their own. And I think in France, we have seen how the National Front has used so successfully social media to push the party much further ahead than the other, more moderate political forces. And Mr. Bardella, who is gearing to become the candidate for the presidential elections, he is riding on this wave. So we might see the next such big change, political change in France, maybe.
Martin Vladimirov, thank you very much indeed for talking to us today.
Thank you so much.